Hey everybody, it's Derek, GameWorn Radio, part of GameWorn.us, and I'm here with Doc, Dan, Tom, and we're trying to get the audio for Bill to work, but it's not working out right now. Unfortunately, we don't have any audio for the intro because Windows Creators Update has completely screwed my system. So that's always a good time. So what's going on, guys?
Oh, not much.
It's a beautiful Tuesday. Everybody's talking summer hockey and playoffs. I'm paying attention to the AHL Western Conference right now.
Yeah, baby. I ordered my Vegas stuff today. Jump on that bandwagon.
You ordered your Vegas stuff today. What Vegas stuff?
I just got a T-shirt. That's all, man. I didn't get those jerseys. Just a T-shirt.
And we're watching I'm watching too the AHL playoffs right now. It's tied at 3-3. Texas Stars are playing Rockford. If Texas wins, they go up 3-0 on the series.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't follow him that much since the team I root for wasn't in it.
What's your team?
We gotta keep rooting. Dan and I'll keep rooting for Mike McKenna.
Yeah, man. Keep rooting for him.
So there was a few equipment sales over the weekend.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there was the Sharks that we used to cover, but we don't now, and then the Blues, right?
Yep, and I thought some minor league teams did it, but the Blues made some rule changes where they put more limits on what you could get, because the biggest complaint's always been you get a couple people in there or dealers in there and they buy up all the shit and then flip it for 10 times what they're paying for it, and I get it totally. So this year it was 5 current rostered players per account. It used to be per seat. You could get like a helmet, gloves, and that by current rostered players. Now it's a helmet, and helmets were also limited to 1, and a set of gloves 1. But then any other like sticks, things like that was also, if you had more than 5, you could only get 5 things. But if they were old players, stuff like that, you could. There was supposedly a limit, but nobody ever said anything. So I got there by 10:30 or so on Friday morning. It didn't open until 6 p.m. Was 7th in line, and this year was a electronic ticketing. So whoever had the season ticket account had to sign into the Ticketmaster, show a little thing that they would scan once you went in, and then the owner would get a wristband. They could bring in all the rest of their seat count, but only the owner got the wristband for buying the item. But they weren't checking that close.
No kidding.
So during the process of waiting outside, thank God we were undercover because it poured like hell about 3 different times. But they had some stanchions. When I got there, there'd been people there since 9:30. Weather was beautiful though, other than it raining a few times. We could get into the main like ticket area of Scottrade. So, and actually now the Enterprise Center as of yesterday. So we could see they were setting it all up in the concourse. We could really have a good look at the skates. They were setting up helmets, gloves, the goalie stuff, and then down the hall, they said, "Yeah, that's the vintage stuff." They were cleaning out closets because Scottrade or Enterprise Center is getting redone, so they've cleaned out a lot of old stuff. I was taking a lot of pictures, talking to the guys. Pricing, we got some pricing early. New helmets were $75 for current rostered players. Older ones $50. Skates were $150. Gloves were $75, and goalie gear was $150 for catch, glove, blocker, other random stuff. So we kind of watched them as they continue to put more stuff out. Talk to the guys. While we're out there, the Blues were nice enough and delivered us a couple pizzas and a case of water.
What?
Which was quite unexpected. The people setting up for the sale had ordered a bunch of pizza and brought us out a couple and a whole case of water, and I thought that was really cool. So I made sure I tweeted out to the Blues to thank them for that, and they liked the post back and that kind of stuff. Which was, I mean, it's nice. They didn't have to do that, and they did let us in probably about 2:30 or 3 to go in and go to the bathroom, which was nice too, because otherwise it was a far walk to a hotel from where we were at. Come 5 o'clock, they let us inside the building, started to get us lined up a little bit better, explained how it was going to work. At 6, they opened the doors, and they were sending probably 10 or 15, 20 people at a time in. They weren't just flooding the whole thing, which was nice. Was able to grab a Berglund helmet. For some reason, it was marked $50. I'm not sure why.
Ooh, nice.
Got a shield and everything. A nice Bauer React helmet. Found a pair of gloves marked $50 that were still New Warrior made in Canada ones. Pair of Bauer 1X 2.0 skates in my size because I need some new skate. And walking around, checking out other things, they had all Reebok 3.0 practice jerseys on sale for $25 a piece.
I would have gotten every single one of those.
If I'd have had the money and the arms to carry it in, I should have found a bag. I probably would have. I picked up several goalie cut ones and a couple regular ones for some friends of mine. They also had just the Reebok Authentics unlettered for $60. They also had preseason from last year, different like preseason players that didn't go on for $75, and they had the 50th Blues patch and the 100th NHL patch on them, plus set stamps and stuff in them. Which, I mean, those pricing was crazy cheap. A couple guys got some decent level players.
Any Paul Koreas for $50?
No, I was hoping to find some of that stuff this time, and none of that showed up, unfortunately. They had really old skates. I mean, I went through boxes and found Jamal Mayer's signed gloves, really old, like Mission brand. Those were all $25, but I didn't need any of that. They had the Adidas team pullovers for $50. A lot of socks, super cheap. But I mean, socks that went way back to even the clown jersey style. How far back they had socks laying around. Why? I have no idea.
Why do you guys call that the clown jersey style? I've always been meaning to ask people that, and I've never.
Because it looks like it looked like McDonald's color, like Ronald McDonald with the red, the white, and the yellow. It just kind of picked up the clown.
Okay,
Ronald McDonald's yellow and red and white.
Yeah, so that's where that kind of came into play.
Oh yeah, that's right. They added the red. That's why they were called the clown.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, they had. I mean, and those socks were all like $5. Of course, team bags, a lot of other just random shirts, things like that. The heck, I even saw a Chris Osgood catch glove and blocker that was in there.
That's old school, dude.
Yeah. What I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, the other big thing, but of course it was also high priced, is they had the boards from the original arena, the Checker Dome, for sale. They were selling small ones for $600 and the large ones for $1,000, but I think they were making deals trying to get rid of them because a buddy of mine bought two matching ones.
Didn't someone buy the old St. Louis Blues Authentic store sign or something?
Yeah, I cannot believe they paid $500 for the Blue Note Authentic sign. I could see like 100, but I mean, practically speaking, where the hell are you going to put that? And well, it would fit in my man cave. I wouldn't pay that kind of money for it.
No.
But it was just very well managed. They had it cordoned off for checking out. It was very smooth, and I saw a lot of people walking out with a lot of stuff. Then the regular public was allowed in on Saturday morning. I think it was like 9 to 4. They did they did things on the arena floor, the whole bit with kids and all that kind of stuff, along with the sale. But nobody complained a ton. There was still a lot of stuff left on Saturday. There were gloves left. There were some helmets still. I mean, nothing great, but there were some. Still lots of jerseys, things like that. So the bitching that usually comes along with the season ticket holders or the dealers that are sneaking in with other season ticket holders passes took it all really seemed to die off this year, and I do think that how the Blues ran it was a lot better. Nobody that I talked to or other messages or stuff out there really seemed too unhappy. The only minor bump, and I to me it doesn't bother me because I wasn't after anything in particular. Some people, of course, were. Tarasenko, stuff like that, is before the season ticket holders were let in, they were allowing some family members and other stuff of staff that worked there to go in and pick out and buy stuff.
I read something about that. Like, people were complaining that was already picked through or something.
Employees got
yes.
first pick.
And we saw when they were setting up the helmets, there was a Tarasenko helmet sitting there. And of course, by the time the doors opened, it was already gone. But we had somebody that had started sitting with us, and you know what? I don't fault him for this because the Blues offered it to him. He's he's a police officer and has done security for the games. Well, the guy that was letting us use the bathroom recognized him and said, "Hey, you're offered to come in this way," and he did. But then he messaged back saying, "Hey, some of those other big name stuff are gone." So he's at least keeping us up to date on it. Which, like I said, to me, I was 7th in line. I wasn't really upset about it, but some people got a little bent because it already got picked through a little bit before the doors ever opened. But overall, I do think it was ran well. I like the splitting the days, and up until probably I'd say 5:30, there was less than 60 people in line. Then about 5:30 to 6 really started funneling people in, but it was much lighter than I expected it to be. But again, it may have been because it was a Friday afternoon, Friday evening.
Huh, that's pretty interesting. That's a different way to do it.
But I say everybody I've talked to was happy with stuff they got. I say the prices really were much lower than expected. I expected helmets to be closer to $150, and like I said, the one I got was marked $50, and it was a year-old Bauer React with all the stickers, Berglund's number, and shield, the whole bit. And I mean, and to me, that's a steal. I was looking for Warrior ones because I'm very specific, but I liked the size adjustment on that one, so I was like, hey, I couldn't pass it up. And the guy that I went in with, he's a goalie, so he was looking at more goalie stuff. So him and I didn't even hit the limit of buying 5 items.
There you go.
But again, no bitching like I'd seen in years past, other than letting the other people in first. And I can, to that, it's not a big deal.
Right. Well, it sounds like other people one to go to. I mean, the prices alone just seem pretty worthwhile.
They're doing it as equipment, and not as, ooh, look at this player, he's worth this much, or that player, the Red Wings at $250 a helmet. I will say I had in my hands, and if I wasn't buying skates to skate in, I would have thought about it. There was a pair of Tarasenko CCMs with the 91 gold stitched on the top of the front of the front of the boot, basically. But it looked like he never even had them on. They did this year, other than the VH skates, none of the skates had steel in them. They took all the steel out. In years past, all the steel's just fit in there. But then you could go to another table and buy the steel for $5. So it was whatever. I wear a size 8. I only found 2 pair of size 8 skates, period. But if people wanted to try VH, and I think Stasny's 9.5, they had probably 15 pairs of Stasny VH skates at $150. I thought that was a hell of a deal if anybody wanted to get those.
Yeah,
but
sure.
And we talked a little bit off the air beforehand. People flipping stuff, and there's already some of that. Like all the pants, regardless of goalie or regular player pants, were $50. And there was probably 8 or 10 pair of Jake Allen ones that even had. I laughed because I own a pair of the Monster, which is a goalie company that makes elastic harnesses to wear, elastic suspenders.
Suspenders, yeah.
All of Jake Allen's and pants had those on there. To buy them from Monster, they're like $40.
Jeez.
So you basically got the harness and I've seen them show up on different sites already for $200 or more for the pants. Dude. I'm like, I should have bought some of that just to do that, but I feel like an ass when I do that kind of stuff. But no, I mean really, I can't find anything wrong with how it was run this time. And I say it was up in the concourse only because they were doing kid stuff down below, but they had it managed well, spread out well. They had a lot of employees walking around, and they limited how many were coming in at a time, so it wasn't everybody pushing and shoving.
Not bad,
so I give
man.
it 2 thumbs up.
If they keep that up, I mean, it's definitely going to sound like it's one to go to for sure. Whoa.
We'll see. We'll see how they do it next year.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys hear me?
I hear audio from Bill. A little bit. It was jumbled, but I heard it.
I know. Is it this weekend that it's? We were talking off the air.
Flames.
Yeah, the Flames. That's always a big one to follow.
Yeah, there's this weekend. Who else?
The Red Wings, I think I've
There's
heard,
there's
are
a couple weeks ago.
June
So
2nd.
the Penguins were last weekend.
I didn't see much out of the Penguins at all. Like,
Somebody else is June 2nd too.
Yeah,
Wilkes-Barre had.
Oh, hey, I see you and I
had
hear
their
you.
Last.
So, went from my very expensive podcast setup to my girlfriend's tablet to now just my smartphone. So,
but now you're here.
Now I'm here. Sorry to interrupt. Let's go.
Well, good to have you, man.
Wilkes-Barre's his last weekend, and then Joe Toman, he picked up all the rest of the Penguin jerseys. That's all I know about for the Penguins.
Yeah, so I'm
Trying to
not
think
going
of-
to the Red Wing sale this year.
How come? Because of a new baby,
Yeah,
or because
between
you
that,
bought lockers and seats?
I don't know. Here, it's a multifaceted thing. Money is the big one. Like, so I'm still not happy with how much money I paid for some stuff last year, and it just seems like the prices are still on the rise, even though the team's not that good. And it's like I can't justify continuing to pay that. And even to complete my collection, which I'm currently have listed for sale if anybody wanted to buy it. The hard part for me too is I don't want to sell it unless it's all going. I don't want to piecemeal it because I don't want to get stuck with like a couple things, because then the completionist in me is like, oh, when you gave up some of this stuff and now it's not complete, it's like, it's like a OCD thing in me. But between that and there's been some drama going on around a bunch of shit that I just don't want. I don't know. I'm tired of the drama. Like between
Shake it off.
there once was a time for me when the enjoyment of the hobby was worth a $20,000 investment in my Glendenning jerseys and just the era of the Red Wing collecting. And now, with recent events and the way some things unfolded and backstabbing and lying and shitty behavior and losing friends in the manner of which it happened, I'm kind of just over it. And it's like I'll pick up things here and there. I still love the hobby. I think jerseys are cool. They tell a cool story, but I'm weighing the balance between my investment that I have in it, continuing to invest more, the enjoyment I'm getting out of it, and then the also side note of putting my family first. And it's like I could continue to go down this path if I was more satisfied at this point, but at this point I'd rather solidify my family's position than continue to go down that path. So like I'm gonna keep my higher end things that I really like that are super hard to get, and I'll be keeping an eye out for things that are like, oh, if I had one of those, like it'd be one and done, throw it up on my wall and call it a day type stuff. But I mean, as far as like buying more for me, I'm getting priced out, man. The pricing is killing me for what I collect, and I can't do it anymore.
And why? I guess that's the question. Is the Wings had a shitty year? Is it just because they're the Wings that the prices continue to climb?
Dude, I have no clue, but I used to get like, say, a Glendenning helmet for like $125, $150, right? And then this year, or gloves, right around the same price, and then they're twice as much this year. And I'm just like, I can't.
Eventually, you're going
that.
to push everybody out because they're going to have so much shit left over because it's overpriced.
The worst part is, and this is the trend that I always see, is when people are buying directly from the team or from a distributor, they will pay more than they would on the secondhand market. So the team itself they can do that. They can jack up the price, and because they have this event where it's like, oh, this is the first time everything becomes available, the hype rises and people spend money without like really considering what they're doing, and they buy stuff overpriced and shit like that. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've done it. Other people do it, and it's like, and the worst part is you know that you're about to buy something that you're not going to get the money out of ever. Like, it's lost money. You know this going into it, but you're like, I gotta have it before somebody else does. And that's the driving factor of paying for overpriced shit in this hobby. Is it's always the, I gotta have it before it becomes unavailable. Like, somebody else is gonna take it if I don't. That's the entire idea behind it. I mean, you can...
That's where I'm at right now with the Vegas jerseys. You know, it's not even the Cup jerseys either. It's I have my eye on a playoff set that I really, really want, but it's not something that you can just afford. The prices are insane, and for good reason. I mean, my Gray's making a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be. But it's the same way. It's like, these are never going to hit the secondary market for years, if that. People are going to hold on to them and try and double their money.
And
how
the worst
can you
part is
double
you're-
$30-some thousand on a goalie jersey, though?
Well, not Flower. You're not going to double
We're
30
talking
grand.
about the
on
other
Flower.
players. Probably the other
But
players.
I mean, like you can double a Neil or a Derek. You know, you can double an England. You know, someone will pay for an England, especially after the Vegas Strong stuff. His speech, so he was an instant favorite.
Well, and you know, Reeves' jersey went up in value after him scoring that game-winning goal the other night.
Yeah, it's the history. It's because we are witnessing hockey history in our lifetime. 100 years from now, they'll be talking about this team. So every collector has to ask themselves, is this worth the X thousands of dollars that I'm investing now to have in my collection later or to pass on?
And it's always a big gamble, too, because you really never know what the future holds. Like, if they don't win the Cup, do they disappear into obscurity?
Did you guys see the backup jerseys? Exactly. If they don't win, the backup jerseys are obviously the cheapest for the goalies. It was like 20. It was almost $3,000. It was under $3,000. But in parentheses, my Gray said, if they play, automatic 5,500.
Yeah, I saw that.
They double.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. They're just going to double the price.
Here's the crazy thing about it, in my opinion, is the prices are justified right now at this point. I think, and I could very well be wrong, and for a lot of people's sake, I hope I'm wrong, but in a few years, 3, 4, 5 years, it's not going to hold the luster. You know what I mean? Like, it's hot right now because it's the thing, but in 3 years, 4 years, there's going to be another thing because there's going to be another good team dominating the NHL. And so it's going to lose that luster to everyone, and it's going to start becoming the whole, am I a fan of this team, which means the prices are going to get driven down. At least that's what I have seen. I could be wrong, but I
think you're half right.
When things sell like this, when prices are high like this, and when there's a high demand, it's always because of event. Look at John Scott in the All-Star game, right? His shit was hot. His shit was hot right after the All-Star game. People selling it for 3 times, 4 times value, or 3 times, 4 times what they were valued at before the All-Star game. And then now it's just kind of died down. I mean, people still want it, but they aren't willing to pay the prices that people were wanting after the All-Star game. So it's you're riding that wave.
I'll tell you what, as a timid Scott collector, you know, this is my first and only one. I'm always looking for them. It's not that people don't want to pay it. It's no one wants to let go of them. I've been trying to get Morton's Yotes jerseys for 2 years. You know, eventually I'm just going to take out a loan after I'm out of debt and just be like, here, take this amount. I bought this one off of him. He let this one go. $1,000.
Wow.
Well, 900. You know, and you know what? But I was happy to pay it because of that. But you're right, though. Is this jersey worth that much? Nah, probably not. You know, I don't even think he had a fight in this, but this was his rookie year, set 2, not even set 1. But, you know, as like I said, as that Scott collector, I'm happy to pay those prices. I ran into a collector that has a bunch of his college stuff, and they weren't super overpriced. They're like $700-800, which is still a lot. But for jerseys that could have been easily recycled, you know, I'd be happy to have that.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you find, like, it also depends on what collectors are out there in the market at that time looking for what. So, say you weren't a Scott collector, if somebody just listed a Scott, maybe it would sit there. It's like, how long ago was that Kasperitis thing? Like, there was a point in time there were like 6 or 7 people looking for Kasperitis. And somebody was like, I have one that costs this much. And everybody starts shitting on the dude, right? And it's like, hold on a minute. Like, if there's X amount of people that are really looking for this player's jersey, price might not be outlandish because it's that entire era of other people want this, so I need to be the one to get it. And that right there alone drives price. It really does.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like one year I bought some Nyquist jerseys, and at the sale somebody offered me $100 just to not buy it, and now I can't even sell a jersey for cost.
Well, you see that in the minors, especially. That's where I started. Was our SPHL team, the Ice Flyers. They start at 500 through the office, and they will go instantly. The top players. So as soon as that goes live, their auction. Mm-hmm. It's basically the My Gray Reserve, how they do it.
Yeah.
And people will pay it $500, and at auctions, at specialty jerseys, they'll go 2-3 times. The most I've seen one go for, I'm not kidding. Oh, what was it? $6,300
for an SPHL jersey.
Yes.
Jesus.
And you know, I'm not innocent either. The most I paid 4 digits for one as well, but it was a 5th anniversary captain jersey, and I'm actually probably going to sell it soon
for pennies on the dollar. No, it's funny.
Oh yeah,
I love the whole underleague specialty jersey thing because you guys have heard me complain about the Toledo market, right? And there was a thread that popped up. Somebody was looking for like a price close to what they paid at auction for one of them, and everybody was just tearing them down. And it's like, oh, the only reason people buy them for that much is for the tax write-off. And it's like, if anybody's buying jerseys for the tax write-off, they are dumb because you have to calculate what your return is on it. All right, so you spend $1,000 on a jersey that comes off of your gross aggregated income. So if your tax percentage is 25%, off that $1,000 you spend, you knocked off $250 in tax liability. So it essentially costs you $750. It's like math. Math is important. Understanding tax law is important. You don't buy stuff because it's for charity, because you get a tax write-off. You don't do it. People think, oh, if I spend $1,000 on a jersey, my accountant will run it through, and that means I get $1,000 off my tax liability. That is not the case. I hate that argument.
No, they get caught up in the moment, though. That's the problem.
That's a lot of it. When you're at live auctions, that seems to how it goes.
And then it doesn't, that's not the value. That doesn't hold the value. And that's where you get the issue. Then, like Derek said earlier, people are so willing to pay it at an auction, or they're willing to pay it from a dealer or a team, willing to pay the price. But then when you go to the secondary market, the groups or whatever, then they're pissed at you for selling it at what you paid for the team at. You're like, well, I bought it from the team for $500. I want to sell for $500. It's not worth that much money.
Well, the crazy thing to me is when you are out there just selling a jersey, there is no like, it doesn't create that whole I got to get this before somebody else does unless your price is insane. But you throw a jersey at auction and people fucking lose their mind. Even secondary auction, like Classic and GameWorn. Like, you go to these auctions and shit's going for higher than it would have been available just listed on the page. I've seen jerseys. Yeah.
I was looking at Tim Kerr's. It was at $440 for till about 6 days left, and then I checked it a few days ago and it jumped up to over $1,100. Now his, I would still pay that. I'd pay 4 digits for a Tim Kerr, but it just dream crushed me. I was like, yeah, I can snipe it. Nah, it's not how it works.
I don't know
how it works.
People are funny to me. Like, the economics of the hobby, the drama, the backstabby, the everything. Just when you do this for so long, it just gets tiring. So I see why people float off into like the mists, and you just kind of hear from them infrequently. I understand that now.
And I will say, I've talked to a lot of people that have kind of, and I don't know if it's just the oversaturation, the hobby change, things like that. Just so many people are really, some are selling off a bunch of stuff, or others are just kind of backing off or backing out of posting things, doing much, and have just, I want to say, lost the taste, but are really dialing it back. And I think all of us go through that at some point, but I've just run into a lot more people in the last probably 6 or 8 months that have really dialed it back.
You know, for me, it came down to just the way certain situations were handled among a community. I'm trying really not to just put it all out there, just because I don't want to be that guy. But between just like the tolerance of just shit behavior, and it almost even comes down to like the defense of just nastiness, like placing the value of one specific person over another, even though they have poor actions, and there's an uprising as a whole from the community. The defense of that is just terrible. And I lost a very, very good friendship out of that, and it puts a disgusting taste in my mouth, and I still don't even quite fully understand why or how, or the things that got to this point. But when that happens to people, I can completely understand that. And I can see people seeing stuff like that happen and doing the same thing. And I'm just, I wish people could just get along. It's what I've been trying to encourage and yada yada. But you really can't, man. People are just too different and nobody wants to coexist. So it's like we have to figure out a way to make it work within the hobby ourselves. You know what I mean? And I've always been a really big proponent for eliminating fragmentation. And it would be awesome to do that. But I don't think we can. And it's sad.
Well, you just gotta cut out the cancers, right?
Well, it's like this. It's like you can get rid of one person, or you can make 100 people leave. I don't know, man. So I mean, yeah, I created some fragmentation, started a new group, followed some rules that we want to follow. We still have freedom of speech, just it's not true freedom. It's like I was saying a couple weeks ago. Like, as soon as you eliminate, or you say, here's what you can and cannot say, it's not free speech. I mean, if you can't say whatever you want. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's a hard thing to describe and put into words and whatnot, but it you have to have some sort of structure and just I don't know. There's people that are going to be
Because
okay with stuff, and then people that won't be okay with stuff, and you're never going to please everybody, so you have to take appropriate measures.
yeah, exactly. It's all social skills. If you can't play nice with the other kids, then you need to get off the playground.
Yep.
That's all it is.
I don't know.
I will say though, on a positive side for collectors, I want to give a shout out to this guy Chris Groth that I met. I don't know if you guys have seen him in any groups or before.
Chris.
The name sounds familiar. I cannot recall for the life of me though why.
So a while back, me and him made a deal for a Notre Dame jersey, and shortly after that, I became very ill. And I'm just now on the uptick, and he's never hounded me. He's never been like, you're full of shit. Nothing like that. He's always been, the whole time, he's been super patient. You know, he's asked me if I'm okay. You know, he's asked me, you know, like, when can we, you know, finish this deal, you know, blah, 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 kind of thing, you know, because it's his jersey. He wants to get it done. We made a deal. But he's never been ugly about it. He didn't blast me anywhere, and he's been great. So thanks, Chris, for all the patience, man.
See, these are the things that I like, and stories like that are rejuvenating. Like, I try my best to help people, but I have my limits. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their limits. You will hit a breaking point. You really will. You can be the best person in the world. You'll hit a breaking point. I always try to do the best I can for people. Let's see if Pete gets added. There we go. I always try to do the best I can for people, and I like to see other people doing the same, and we have a really good community for it. The hardest part about, and I'll say GameWorn, but it's really just life in general, is the good things are seldom remembered as often as the bad. Which is why I try, you know, my best to do what I can for people or spread the word of people doing good things for other people. And I fall short of that objective sometimes, but I think that we could all like encourage each other to do the same. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I like let people write articles for GameWorn.us. Like, if somebody has something really cool they want to get out there and experience or something, I let people write articles, I post them. I want people to hear good stuff coming out of this community to kind of try and drown out some of that negative stuff that, quite frankly, for me, has been weighing heavy on me, we'll say.
What do you believe people, and it's Pete Janicus here, what do you believe people would like to hear? Do you want to hear experiences? I don't want to hear like gripes about too many jerseys out there. It's pretty well known that there's a lot of jerseys out there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, and prices on some jerseys are very high and more than what people make. What do you think a positive platform would be for bases?
I think some of the really good stories come out of, like, sometimes collectors get to meet players because they have jerseys. Those are really cool stories. Collectors helping collectors, like, you know, you get in a tough situation. What was it? Not long ago, we raised money for one of the guys who was selling a jersey to raise money for a funeral for a child. That is a great story. People doing good things for other people purely just because they're also game-worn collectors and they're passionate in the hobby, you know. Stories like that are great. I even enjoy reading stories of, like, the history behind why this jersey is significant, or here's a evolutional period of how, you know, maybe team repairs have changed over the years. Like, stuff like that is cool to read. We need a distraction away from the social media negativeness. You know what I mean? And the only way to do that is kind of with social media positiveness, if that makes sense. We just got to drown it out, you know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there that what one's perception is. Sometimes like something simple can be taken out of context, and then you end up getting berated for it. Like I mentioned, I'd love to have a 4-patch Malkin, and I was immediately corrected that the A is not a patch. But hey, to me it's in patch. I really don't care.
It's a patch. Come on.
It wasn't made with the jersey.
Do they have
But
to show it on?
I do
You
find,
understand what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
so what? It's like it's so insignificant what I think is a 4-patch and you think is a 4-patch. That's fine, or a 3-patch, whatever. I mean, in my eyes, it looks like 4.
We have this culture right now of, and it's just in general. I've noticed this in life, and I have Zoloft because of it. But it's like,
oh, good. I can send you some Xanax too. So if you want,
I'd be down with that. No, the Zoloft is kind of unrelated. We're trying to figure out why some medical shit that I have going on. So we're just kind of like throwing shit at the walls to see what sticks. But the Zoloft kind of is it's a good reasoning for why I feel this way. And it could be the cynicism in me. I think I'm a really big cynic, but people will often jump to a conclusion based on a perception that they have without actually looking to find the intent of your message. Your intent no longer matters. What matters is what that person interpreted. It's the interpretation that now is paramount, not the intent. And nobody ever asks for, what did you mean by
rationale?
This? I took it like this. What did you mean by this? And I feel like we've lost that sense of clarification. It could solve so many problems if we just stopped, didn't get upset about something, and said, what do you mean by this? I'm guilty of it. Somebody accused me one time of what he said. How did he put this? Playing favoritism or something like that, right? And I went off on the dude. I was like, look, there is absolutely no reason for you to come at me like this. So if you want to start some shit with me, I'll shut it down real quick. And maybe that was bad of me to say. Maybe I should have been like, what exactly do you mean by me playing favorites? But it's life, right? You live, you learn. And I just hope that I think we need to do a good job of reminding each other how to do that. Like with your patch situation. I think we could have done a good job in that scenario of saying, hey, some people consider these patches, some don't, and it's cool. It doesn't really matter. The intent of the message is he's looking for these qualifications. You know what I mean?
So true. I mean, again, everyone's perception of what is I could see if it was something that was monumental historically to any type of jersey, doesn't matter what team, like they did something different, or the sewers were doing something something else than normal, than the norm. But on a patch, there's so many patches nowadays, it's like, holy shit. It's like, how many patches can someone have, on a jersey? But
not enough.
Not enough, okay.
Wait until they become advertisements, right?
Yep.
Oh,
just
God.
like Europe.
How do people collect Euro jerseys? I don't understand. I'll never understand Euro jerseys.
It's like a walking billboard.
Yeah.
And just an FYI, checking the auction that ends this evening, there's the 75-76 Bobby Hole is $11,400 right now.
Oh, dude.
I'm bad.
7, 8, 9, 10.
That's sublimated. They don't count as patches.
It's not sewn on.
No, they're not. But There's about 17 advertisements for it. So
But do they put Billboard Sevens? Do they put advertisements on the boards? Is that the trade-off?
no, I believe there's advertisements on the boards. I think it's kind of I want to say, even though I don't follow it, kind of like NASCAR, like so much money, we'll put it on the jersey. If you put this much money, we'll put it on the boards. Because if you have the jersey, you're wearing it to every home and visiting game. You do it for the boards, it's just for the home game.
Right.
I think
That's why
Look at the worlds with the helmets.
they do it in this PHL a little bit. They'll sell different portions of the jersey, but it's not a free-for-all.
The lower back tail.
Lower back tail, Sacred Heart Health System. Yeah. Wait a minute. Hang on.
You know what? As long as when players are getting interviewed after the game, they don't start talking like NASCAR race car drivers, I'm okay.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Anyone?
Get these hands.
Ricky Bobby, NASCAR.
Hell, you can be second. You can be third.
Just start thanking all these different
Wow.
sponsors when during the post game. Please don't do that because it sounds awful.
I'd like to thank Coke for that goal I scored yesterday.
Well, we got a late start. We ran a little over, but that's all right. Hopefully later I'll get the audio stuff figured out, but I don't know. Have you checked out the whole Windows audio settings thing and the new stuff, dude? It is confusing, so it's gonna take me some work.
I'm hoping
Microsoft always tweaks things.
I didn't update, but I have no idea when my audio wasn't going through. I'm gonna go through it again, and if you guys have me back, hopefully I'll have a way better setup.
You're always welcome, man. The more the merrier.
Awesome. I enjoyed it. It was a ton of fun.
Well, we
I had to
always
re-register. I
yeah.
think that's one way of doing it. Get that audio fixed.
We stay on the call after, so stick around. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Everybody, thanks for listening. Pete, thanks for joining in late. Always good to have you on the show,
of course.
man.
Yeah.
Catch us
brother.
in 2 weeks. Everybody out there, peace.
Peace.